our favorites in the week again when we get to answer a few of your questions. Saagar, what is up first?
Number 1, Nathan Neal, books on Napoleon. With the new movie out, what are the must-read books on Napoleon?
I didn't even know there was a movie out.
Yes.
Is it just called Napoleon?
It's called Napoleon. It's Ridley Scott. It's Joaquin Phoenix. I have not seen it yet. I'm going to try and see it sometime this week. Maybe I'll do a review.
Is this another one of those like friggin' 4-hour movies?
It is. Well, let's see. Let's see what the runtime is. Napoleon
I don't have time for all
runtime.
People need
2 hours and 38
more editing.
minutes. That is a bit long. We'll say 158 minutes, but for Ridley, that's actually a bit short. I hate to say it. Everyone I know who has seen the movie says the movie is bad. But
no,
it
really?
has a 68% approval or 60% approval on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that it means anything. People who are my friends who have seen it have all said that it is like, it is both historically inaccurate, and that's fine, you know, for a biopic or something, but there's some stuff, apparently, just the way that it's cut doesn't play to some of the things that, some of the more dramatic moments in Napoleon's life. I have only read one book on Napoleon, so let's see. It's the more recent one, and I'm gonna go and pull it up. Andrew Roberts, I've read some previous books by him about Churchill, so it's called Napoleon, A Life. That's the only book that I'd read about him. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's like the best or any out there, but it's probably enough of a primer to give it to you. I don't remember it being too long. It's 976 pages, I guess. So I listened to it on audiobook. It was like 40 hours, something like that, which to me, I mean, no, it's a biopic. That's not a crazy amount, I think, to ask. That's all I can offer you. I haven't seen it yet. I will watch it though, and I will report back whether it's good or not.
Maybe though, it's judging on what others are saying, maybe just do the book and skip it.
No, you gotta watch it. First of all, support Ridley. I just love Ridley so much. He got a bad hand dealt to him with The Last Duel, which I think is such an awesome movie. That I actually recommend you should watch.
Okay.
That's like over 2 hours long, but it's an amazing film. Okay.
All right. Next question, Chad Wiggins. The whole Israel truth. It seems like you guys only tell the side of Palestine and Hamas. It seems like you only paint Israel black. Israel's all bad. I don't seem like you're giving Israel's point of view. Concerned premium member. Well, first of all, I would say, you know, Saagar interviewed Jocko Willink, who definitely has a different perspective. So I do think in fairness, question came in before that interview was released. The other thing I would say about this is our government is funding Israel. Our government. Our taxpayer dollars are going. It's our bombs that are being dropped. So I think there is an added level of scrutiny when that's the case, no matter what. But number 2, and this will be more controversial, but here we go. I asked Norm Finkelstein when I interviewed him, you know, can you steel man the Israeli case? Like, you know, put your view of this conflict aside, try to steel man for me the Israeli case of what's unfolding right now. And he said, you know, ordinarily that is a really good exercise and it's really important to do. But you can't really both sides of genocide. And I feel the same way. You know, when we were very clear and have always been very clear about condemning the atrocities committed by Hamas, the attacks on innocent civilians. So to me, it's only consistent to condemn those killings and murders and massacres and what was truly a war crime committed there. And to also condemn what is being done right now to all 2.2 million citizens of Gaza, Palestinians living in Gaza. To me, that's just, you know, morally consistent to have that view. And, you know, that's what we're seeing unfolding day after day after day. So yeah, when we're covering, you know, on this show, we cover the details of this conflict in the same way we covered the details of what Russia, you know, war of Russia and in Ukraine. We try to cover in depth. And I don't think you can really cover those details in a way that looks good for Israel right now, if you're being honest.
I would just take issue with this question, which is, what does it mean to be pro-Israel? I mean, the idea that we have not covered, Hamas's atrocities is insane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chad. I mean, you're just not watching the same show. We are covering the ongoing war. Unfortunately for Hamas, they don't have air power. So if the vast majority of the kinetic action is coming from Israel, we're going to cover from Israel. We're supposed to pepper. Just think about, you know, what I think is being asked here. And I guess I don't mean to single you out, Chad, but I've seen a whole lot of annoying commentary on this. Every single time that you cover the ground action in Israel or on Gaza, are you supposed to say, but don't forget about October 7th? That just seems ridiculous. Like, we're covering the news on a day-to-day basis. I would also say, in terms of this whole like paint both sides black or white, I get bothered very much by this. As the idea is, if you're supposed to be pro-Palestinian, pro-Israel, or any of that. I don't know who you are, Chad. I'm American. I cover things from a quote, pro-America perspective. And I don't mean that in terms of the government, what I think of the nation and of the people. And so I really just reject a lot of this framing. Now, in terms of this whole like painting something black, nothing is being painted with that doesn't have a factual basis.
Right.
Everything we're saying here is about what's going on. Now, Krystal, you just laid out your opinion. I disagree with your opinion. We've disagreed plenty. We've had multiple debates that you're welcome to go and watch that have been posted on YouTube. So I guess, really what people are taking issue with is probably not enough frequent sympathy for the victims of October 7th, which I just don't know how that is supposed to look from a realistic basis whenever you're covering the news. I really don't understand like what the desire is to just say, and even to say like the Israeli perspective. There are tons of Israeli news reports that are cited on this show every single day. If anything, we hold them up as an example that Israel is a dynamic society and that a single prime minister does not speak for the nation, as in our country, if anyone were to make the same distinction. So that would be my whole response to the question. We've debated all day long about ethnic cleansing, genocide, war crime, whether morality should be included in U.S. foreign policy or not. So it just seems to me very often, having encountered some of this as well in real life, is that it's like you're not sufficiently sycophantic about Israel's right to do whatever
the hell they want.
And here's the other thing. I'm not Israeli. Do whatever you want, okay? But we can also talk about it in criticism. As Americans, we can say what we want too. What's wrong with that?
I think you could, you could, from another lens, say we've been unfair in the other direction. We had on this show, we interviewed the brother of one of the Israeli hostages who was taken.
Right.
And, incredibly emotional story and horrifying and, obviously like humanizes those, all the hostages that are taken, but, this woman in particular. We haven't had on one of the families of the Palestinian prisoners who've been held for years, some of whom are children. So in any case, I thought about, because I was thinking about how could you even cover this war really from like a pro-Israel perspective, when, as you said, Saagar, all of the action and the killing at this point is happening on one side of the equation. So I think to cover the day-to-day, what's unfolding day-to-day, you can't help but come away with, a very negative and heart-wrenching picture of the suffering that is happening on the ground, which is exactly why you see public sentiment in the U.S., even with a lot of news outlets trying to do the pro-Israel side of the equation, why you see public sentiment shifting so dramatically and so rapidly, especially depending on, where people are getting their news from. So,
and I would,
in any case.
The other thing, Krystal, if someone was on the show being like, no, Hamas was justified in something like this, yeah, okay, that's a different thing. That's actually pro-Hamas or whatever. But being critical of the Israeli government is not pro-Hamas. Being pro-Palestinian people or humanity or any of that is not. And some of these people, honestly, like I'm getting so annoyed with such of the rhetoric around the way that this is all discussed, because it is all just meant to stifle conversation, which is allegedly what most of these people want whenever it comes to free speech and expanding the Overton window. It's like, hey, I was on board for all of that. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk about all kinds of crazy ideas. But it seems to me that you want to gatekeep what you're allowed to and whatnot. So at the end of the day, Chad, if you want to cancel because you don't agree, go for it, man. I just don't know what else to say at this point. Doing our best. And if you don't like it, it's fine. Just move on.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Next question.
Rich Wilson. Will Trump get a pass on Israel? Since he is blatantly pro-Israel no matter what, if Donald Trump is reelected in 2024, will the mainstream media still do their best to provide cover for the Israeli government? Or will any of the, quote, if Trump likes it, it must be bad thinking, move the conversation?
Rich
is on to something.
It's a very interesting question.
Rich is on to something there.
So Michael Tracy has been offering this analysis of basically like, if it was Trump doing this right now,
absolutely,
you wouldn't just have, I don't know, it's 30-some Democrats at this point calling for a ceasefire. You would have much more unified Democratic opposition to the just blanket support for Israel and Netanyahu's government and them doing whatever they want to do. It's probably true.
It's absolutely true. There's no question there.
Actually, let me rethink that because people like Richie Torres, man, they don't care.
He would be doing this regardless. The point is about the median Democrat. Where would they fall without the president's cover? Think about that. There's just no way.
You do have, like, you referenced the Israel lobby before. This is this is impactful. You had a report, I don't know if we're going to cover it on the show or not, but this guy, I think his name's Harper Hill, who is running for Senate and was offered $20 million to drop out and run instead in a primary against Rashida Tlaib by an AIPAC-affiliated donor. Like, that's the type of sway. You can read Ryan Grimm's book, which has all the ins and outs of the way that uniformity has been coerced on the Democratic side and how it's been enforced, and how, how John Fetterman ended up being so go pro-Israel is because he knew he had this threat of them getting involved in his primary and backing Conor Lamb. And so he was just like, I'll say whatever you want me to say, effectively. So that is a very powerful force, and it is a competing force with the partisanship and the Trump hatred that, may make it a little more muddled than what you would automatically think, just given the oh, Trump likes it, so it's bad. One of the only areas where Democrats and Republicans ever come together on is war. But I think if you're talking about your median Democratic voter, I think that might be a different lens, different landscape.
I completely agree with Rich. I absolutely think that things will change. Next question.
Jason Edelstein, cargo pants and low-rise jeans. This is for Saagar. Thoughts on cargo pants, utilitarian or eyesore Krystal? Low-rise jeans, outright ban or trade embargo to prevent further infiltration into the market. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not against low-rise jeans. I know it's shocking.
Wait, what's against? Why should anyone be against low-rise jeans?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
People have strong feelings about them. They were very popular in the early 2000s. Yes. I was rocking them pretty hardcore, back in that day. I can't say I wear them really now, but I support them. I'm not opposed to them. I think they're coming back in style, according to my 15-year-old.
No, they are coming back in style.
Yeah.
This is the whole cargo pants question.
Yeah.
It's no piece of clothing is good or bad. It's about time. It's about place. It's about fit. So, for example, he talks about utilitarian. Yeah, if you are on a job site, you should wear cargo pants. That sounds really useful. Also, if you are wearing cargo pants to a nice date, I would maybe question that decision. Part of the reason why is cargo pants are not flattering to your overall silhouette, especially if they're really bulky and bulgy all around your thighs or near your knees or something like that. It's about what you are trying to achieve. If you're going on a hike and you want to be able to store a bunch of stuff, you should probably wear cargo pants. If I were wearing them to try and, as a good outfit or something, like going to a bar to go meet some of my friends, I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Although I've seen it pulled off before. There's a different way. Carhartt whip and all that is super in right now. If what you're wearing is chunky and more workwear on the top, and you pair that with cargo pants and boots, okay, nothing wrong with it. So for me, there's no piece of one clothing or not. It's just about, is it appropriate? Does it fit you properly? What are you trying to achieve by wearing this? And also, if you don't care, go for it, man. Live your life.
So I think utilitarian seems like it's kind of where you come down on those.
Yes.
What about for women? I feel like
they can look great on
the
women.
Silhouette that has also come back in style from I guess the 90s. It's maybe a tank top or a tight fitted or midriff top, and then baggy cargo pants or other loose pants. And I'm kind of down with that look.
Yeah. So I'm looking right now. I just Googled women cargo pants, and I'm looking at a bunch. H&M, for example. Let's take where a lot of people would shop. Really, what they'll go for is they'll do a tight tank top or something on the top, and then they'll have baggy
or a
cargo pants.
bodysuit.
Exactly. Why? And again, let's think about people, why does that look good? Because what looks good? The traditional V-shape aesthetic. And it's so what do you have? You have tight at the top, and then you come to the waist, and then from the waist onward, it goes out with baggy pants. So it all just comes back to the very basics of style, which I think if you learn about that, then no piece of individual clothing is good or bad. It's just about what helps you look good. Part of the reason this makes suit is a universal garment that makes people look good is because the tie and everything, all the collar draws attention to the face, which is what you should always try and do. And then from there, it provides you a jacket, it accentuates your waist, and it also covers up your stomach before, with pants that are then either not too tight or any of that, in order to make sure that the universal thing that pops from your outfit is the so-called your best presentation.
I do feel suits on men have to be the most flattering.
Yes.
Men get away with a lot.
Exactly.
In a suit.
That's why you should wear one. That's why people should wear them.
Everybody
Yeah.
looks good in a good fitted suit.
Exactly right. And you know, a lot of old female garments, they were exactly the same. They were tailored specifically to either, to modesty or in order to try and accentuate what traditionally you would think is the best silhouette in order to bring out on a person. So anyway, it's not about the clothes, it's about the person who's wearing the clothes.
There you go. All right, last question. Jordan Doozy, Gossip Girls. Go ahead, Saagar.
All right, my sister
This
and
one is
I
for me,
are
apparently.
big fans. My sister Sleuth must know the juicy gossip.
She flipped.
Maybe that was intentional.
She
I don't
said
know.
goosey gossip,
Yeah.
but she meant to say what
That was hard to read.
Juicy gossip.
Why does Krystal not follow Emily J back on Instagram? You must get to the bottom of this, Saagar. Krystal, go ahead.
I don't really use Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything that gets posted, like
Right.
I'm not really.
It's by our social media team.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through phases where I've used it more, but I don't know. I'm not a huge social media person in general, to be honest with you. And so to be real with you, I didn't even know Emily was on Instagram or whether or not I followed her. So I will probably go on and follow her now, though, just to avoid being rude.
No, now you shouldn't do it.
It's not personal.
No, now it's up. Now it's about.
I love Emily. We have a great time together. I respect her thoroughly. I am, as interested in her Instagram as I am interested in anyone's Instagram.
This is just so funny because this is some like reality TV show of which, look, I'm a fan, but this is not reality TV over here. Okay, everybody's friend. We're all good. What you see on the camera is actually what you get, unlike most of these programs. So,
Yeah, it's not like
anyways.
we have to work with any of these.
Yeah,
people.
that's right.
Like,
I was like,
if
what?
We want to, we
Yeah,
wouldn't.
there's
so.
no boss here, right? Except you. All right, we'll see you guys later.